is just a review. It looks just like Friday's opener. I had to think which day of school we had last week. We did come here on Friday. So we have to look at Friday's opener. And it's going to be the same thing, but the problems are going to be a little bit different. So the first problem says, rewrite the equation in slope-intercept form and then graph it. You guys are pros at slope-intercept form. What is the equation for slope-intercept form at this point? Okay, so y equals mx plus b. So if y equals mx plus b, what am I going to have to do to this equation to get it in that format?
Plus negative 2.
Okay, because what are you doing, Josh?
Getting it on the other side so you're making a y alone.
Yeah, you're trying to get y by itself. So you're going to plus 2x to each side and rewrite your equation. When you rewrite your equation, what does it look like?
Y equals 2x plus 6. Man, y'all be hating on y though. He's always alone.
Y is always alone. Okay, so then we graph it. So when we go to graph this, what do I need to graph first?
6.
The 6, which indicates the y-intercept. So the 6, I'm going to start at the origin and go which direction?
Up.
And then my slope, I graph second. What's my slope going to be?
Positive over 1.
Okay, what's the problem with it being positive 2 over 1?
Oh, you can't go up.
So what am I going to have to do with my slope that's positive 2
Go
over
down.
1?
Go down 2 over 1.
So I'm going to have to go down 2 and over 1 to the left. Good.
I see it so.
But why to the left?
Because if you're moving, because our line is positive. So we want to show that the slope is positive. If we would go to the right, we're going to have to make it a negative.
Okay.
Basically, the way you look at it, if you're changing these both, if you have to change it, you're going to have to change them both to negative. So if it's a positive 2 over 1, you can't graph that because they'll go off. So you're going to change them both to negative. That's a good question to ask. All right, and then go ahead and graph your line. We'll go through that in just a
We
minute.
have school on Monday, but
We'll go through all the scheduling in just a minute, guys.
okay.
Can I count to 60?
Can you count to 60?
Yeah.
No, thank you.
At
Okay.
least reply.
Am I spelled that
Can't
wrong?
get mad, you reply.
Never mind, I will.
Let's look at this next one. So this next one, we're looking for the slope. We're looking for the y-intercept. And then we're going to write it in slope-intercept form. What is the slope of this line going to be?
Yeah, 0, 1.
Yeah, the slope's going to be just straight up 0 or 0 over 1.
So then would it be just y equals x?
So no, not yet. What's my y-intercept? Where does this line cross through the y-axis?
The
Okay.
that is true.
So my equation is going to look like what, Josh?
Y equals 0 over 1 x.
But-
I had just 0.
Just y equals 4. Because if you put 0 over 1x, you're giving it a value, because x always has a value of 1. So the slope is 0, right? So we just totally leave it out.
Would we get that wrong on a test?
Yes. Because 0 over 1x equals 1. So you're saying the slope would be 1. Yes.
What if I put y equals plus 4? Just makes it possible.
It would be okay, but do you need that plus 4?
No.
No, but it is a habit.
No, it's not. All right. Let's look on the back.
What if we just put y equals x plus 4?
It would be wrong because x stands for the variable 1. Ask it another way, though.
I hate this.
Can you find another way that I can tell you no, you can't do that? Okay. All right. Use substitution to solve the system.
Dash off the hardest one.
You want to do the hardest one? What's the hardest one?
The second one?
The second one? Okay. So substitution to solve. When we're using substitution to solve for a system of equations, the first thing that I'm going to look at are my 2 equations up here. Then I'm going to look to see, do one of these equations have a variable that's totally by itself on the left? Hey, I need you to focus, and if you can't sit in here.
I'm pretty focused, to be honest.
So,
Focus on usually am.
do one of these equations have a variable completely by itself on one of the equal signs, Riley? No. So I'm going to have to get one of those variables completely by itself on one side of the equal sign. Which equation would it be easier to do that with?
X plus 1.
The bottom. So we're going to look at the bottom. So we're going to have x plus y equals 5. Now, here we have either variable is by itself. Does it matter which variable I get and isolate?
Nope.
No. So I could solve for either one. Which variable do you want to solve for? X. So that means we're going to get x by itself. I do that by getting rid of what?
minus and y.
So I'm going to minus y. So x is going to equal what?
Negative 5. Never mind. 5. Negative 5y.
Can't combine them.
Negative y plus.
There you go. Perfect. Okay, so which variable am I substituting for now?
Small brain.
Which variable am I substituting for?
Y.
No, x. So when I see x, I'm going to substitute negative y plus 5. So I'm going to go up, and I'm going to substitute in my top equation now. So I'm going to rewrite it. I'm going to put 2x. Oh, wait, there's the x. What do I substitute for x?
Y plus 5.
How about negative y plus 5?
Yeah, that.
Parenthesis, then what's the rest of my equation? That I write in.
Plus 3y equals 5.
Okay. And now I solve. Okay. What's my next step I do from here, Chance? What am I going to do next?
You,
I'm going
Not yet.
to distribute.
Distribute. Okay, so when I distribute, what's my answer going to be?
Negative 2y plus 10 plus 3y equals 1.
And then you combine like terms, which will get you.
Y
Good job.
10 equals 5.
And then to get the y by itself.
Subtract 10.
So then y is going to equal.
Negative 5.
Good. Now, if you would have chosen to bring down that 1 with the y, and you brought it on down here, you'd either have to divide it by 1 to get rid of it, or just know that you can just drop the 1 off to get your final answer. So, y equals negative 5. What do I do with this information that I have? Yeah, plug it into one of the equations. Does it? Now this one, it doesn't matter which one I substitute it into. I can substitute it into my top equation, my middle equation, or the equation I came up with. It does not matter. Okay, equation we came up with? So what am I going to substitute in there, Chance? So I'm going to have x equals, now remember we have a negative already. There's my y. I substitute negative 5 plus 5. Two negatives equal a what? So I have 5 plus 5, which equals, so my solution is,
10 comma negative 5.
perfect. Nice job. You too.
Question.
Yes, sir.
I did the opposite. I did y equals to x equals.
And did you get the same?
Yeah.
I don't know what.
That's fine. As long as you got the same. Now, if we didn't get the same, we'd have to go through again and see who messed up. And more than likely, it would have been me.
I
For
do the
some-
hard problem.
You want to do the hard problem?
some
Why do you think this is hard?
I know it's not hard. It's just search.
I think elimination is easier than substitution. Josh did too last week.
I
It's both
divided.
pretty easy.
I got positive 5, which is wrong because I divided the 1 as well.
He questioned
Oh my
method,
gosh.
just like try harder.
I just realized.
Okay, here we go.
Did you?
Use elimination to solve the system. So, if you think about what our note said, the first step has us make sure our like terms and coefficients are lined up. If the answer is yes, they're lined up, then you can go ahead and move to the second step. The second step says you're going to either add or subtract the two equations to eliminate the coefficients that are the same. So what are my coefficients that are the same, Ben?
Negative 3, positive 3, y.
Yeah, so which variable are we eliminating here?
Y.
Yeah, oop, this is going to be a crooked line. Whoop. Okay. Oop, I just put it in there. So are we going to add these or subtract these?
Oh man, that's a hard
Minus
one.
them.
Yeah, I feel like we're on minus them.
You think we're going to minus them? So if I take positive 3 minus negative 3, remember two negatives touching, a minus and a negative touching is going to change it to a positive. So 3 plus 3 would get me 6. So we can't do that because it wouldn't eliminate it. So we're going to add them.
Well, we get 3x plus 18, or equals 18.
Nice.
Then we divide, which would get x equals 6.
Nice. Okay. Once I get x equals 6,
We have to fill in the blanks.
yeah, I need to now determine what y equals. So I substitute, and one of the equations, does not matter which, bottom. So we're going to have, oh, there's the x. What do I substitute for x?
6.
So I have 6 minus 3y equals 3. Okay, go ahead and solve.
Minus 6 on both sides.
equals,
negative 3.
then
Divide that, you get positive 1. Y equals positive 1, or 1.
so my solution will be
6 comma 1.
good job.